Bam, we're live. Marco Calderon. I've been able to breakdance since I was 8 years old. You don't lose that. It's muscle memory. All right. You know, this guy is amazing. And I'm looking back because I'm looking at my text messages, seeing if he's actually going to make the show. Because he said he had a little mishap this morning. What a journey this dude's been on. Hey, what's up? Good morning, Heidi Kroom. Hey, good morning. Miguel. Miguel Gravity. I don't even know the guy's last name. He goes by Gravity in the streets, and I think his mama calls him Miguel. What a cool, crazy story this dude has. This dude popped on my radar because Brian Friend of Be Friendly Fitness went on the CrossFit World Tour, and one of his stops. Okay. He's not gonna make it. Damn. Okay. I hope all is good. All right. Okay, well, the show's over. No show today. Shit. All right, I'll go back in the house and go to sleep. That was easy. Good morning, Slater. Oh, no shit. Is that really you? Let me see what's going on here. I met this dude through Brian. I don't know if this is the real Brian. Let me see if this is the real Brian. I'm going to send this over to Brian. And if he jumps on, then it was the real Brian. You know, Cave, you were a little feisty yesterday, buddy. You were a little feisty. A little feistier than normal. You afraid people are going to find out that old bucket toss of yours wasn't real? Oh, it was a fake. It was a fake. The complete Avi interview is not on anywhere. I've just been like cherry picking the parts to make him look like a stud. You know what I mean? Like when he just says dumb shit, I just cut it out. So I've been just picking the parts where he looks cute as shit. Jake Chapman, Sevi, Philip Kelly's being harassed by a gay man at his gym. What should he do? I don't know what it means to be harassed. Unfortunately, I just thought that the dude's trying to blow him, and just take the Hummer. Just take one. Hey, dang.
Good morning.
Hey,
I'm sad that Miguel didn't come on.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got some legitimate shit that just happened. He has at least 4 kids.
The one thing you said, his story is crazy. I hope you can get him back on at some point.
I will. We'll reschedule him. Let me ask Sousa to do that ASAP. Sousa will get you scheduled. He had some horrible shit happen to him as a kid.
Yep.
And
but he's got some big dreams and ambitions, and what he's doing with his kids and for some other kids is really cool. So hopefully you can have him on at some point to share that. I was really impressed with obviously not just his breakdancing, but also what he spoke about, to the point that I thought you might want to have a longer chat with him.
Yeah. Oh, he brings up talks about his journey at the Power Monkey camp.
He did.
Wow.
Just a little bit. You know, they did. His son was there.
Oh, is this like live?
Group therapy? No, it's not. Go ahead. Okay. Say what you really want.
It's live.
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
I just saw the link and I clicked it, which is why I just have earbuds in.
It's live. How did you see Carl? Does Carl Powley do Power Monkey camp?
Not this time.
But
I don't know if he has in the past.
Okay, because I should have known. Carl asked me one time, Brian, to to film some b-boy competitions because I think he was running or he was training some people in some b-boy competitions in San Francisco, and so I filmed them, and then through Miguel's Instagram, I saw that he has relationships with Carl Pally. Man, it's a small world.
Yeah, and it was he brought his son out there. They did like 3 45-second or 1-minute things back and forth. His son is like top 10 in the nation for his age division as well. And then he spoke for probably like 20 minutes after that.
Chase, I just realized I sent the link in the big chat, and then boom, here you are.
I thought you were doing a sound test. I was like, I'll hop on for this.
Oh, you're a good dude. You're a good dude. Where are you at right now?
My house, office, working.
And where are you at, Brian?
Same.
You're at your house?
I was excited because you were having Miguel on, and I knew that we had talked about that. And then he bailed on you, so I tried to bail you out.
You're a good
Not
dude.
that you need it, not that you need the help, but.
And Chase, you're not going to Rogue in any commentary capacity. You're going there in CrossFit capacity.
Yes, I'll be there Thursday and Friday for the affiliates.
Okay, and then Brian's going there because he's a student of the game.
I'm going there to work.
He's on the World Tour.
Yes, I got my World Tour hoodie on here.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can get them in Rogue, I believe.
Is that a World Tour hoodie? Let me see.
Yeah, the back lists all the stops from the tour, but there was a pre-sale. I think it's over now, and then there'll be on site at Rogue. We'll have some too. Oh,
that's awesome.
You'll have to get there early to get them because Audrey said she's planning to buy the entire stock.
Oh, good. I love that. Ryan Tangaway, Sevan, you should try and schedule Tyson every Tuesday for a few minutes after each of his starts. He can talk about what happened with the game and break down some film with you so you can learn. Well, thank you. Hey, that's Sousa's job. Don't tell me what the fuck to do. So I can learn. You mean so I could give him a pep talk? Brian, are you a Chicago Bears fan?
Have been my whole life, and it's tough.
Tell me about your first Chicago Bears game.
I don't go to a ton of games. My brother goes to like 1 or 2 every year.
I mean, just the first one you watched. Like, were you like 7 years old and you walk by the TV and you're like, hey, I like the color of their jersey?
No, my family is a big sports family. So they watch Blackhawks, watch the Bulls. We grew up in the 90s, and the Bulls were obviously amazing. The Bears were not. But we watched all the games, and so I just had a Bears jersey from the time I was, can remember, and rooted for them, even though they haven't been great during my lifetime or really ever.
Do you sit down on a Sunday and watch a Bears game?
I used to do that probably up until I moved to the Dominican Republic. So like maybe 12 years ago, I kind of stopped doing that. Occasionally I will, but so far this year, I think I've watched 1 football game.
So you have watched one this year?
It wasn't a Bears game. No.
Oh.
It was when I was with my friends in Texas, and just for like 40 hours I was there, and there was a Thursday night football game on, so we watched it.
You watch football, Chase?
Oh yeah.
Every Sunday?
Every Sunday.
I'm definitely watching the Chicago Raiders game this Sunday.
I feel bad because
I live on one of these.
Oh, and then just watch and talk about it?
Yeah.
I'd do that.
I have a guilty moment, and I hope Tyson doesn't take offense to this, but I'm playing the Raiders defense on my fantasy football team.
What does that mean, that you're betting them to win?
I'm betting that a rookie undrafted quarterback on a team that's already really bad probably won't have the best offensive performance, so that the defense will score more points for my fantasy team.
Awesome. Good job, Chase. You're off the show. What's great, he's coming on Tuesday, and I am so excited to talk to him. So I guess this Tuesday, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, this will be Tyson Bagent's first start, right? If everything goes according to
Tuesday, Sunday, right?
Oh, sorry, Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
And how are the Raiders? Do you guys know? Are they any good this year?
Average.
They're okay.
It's
Middle
the
of the pack.
NFL. The NFL is always, there's like 5 teams that are really good, 5 teams that are really bad, and the other 20 teams are all. It's kind of a any given Sunday thing, and they're one of those 20.
Hey, I watched Nate Edwardson video recently, and he's like, yeah, I haven't left the CrossFit space, but I pivoted over to golf, and the channel's fucking killing it. And if you go over there, you can see the channel is killing it. He has a clean style. He talks to the camera. His edits are good. He gives you his opinion. There must be people who are out there who are hungry to get golf information, right? His channel has taken off, and he knows what he's doing, and he obviously knows the sport. Why wouldn't you do that, Brian? Why wouldn't you pivot to? I bet you if you pivoted to football, you could have I don't know. To put it in perspective, here's a perspective. Like the NFL, these are some numbers I heard. The NFL is a $10 billion a year revenue stream for the NFL. Or maybe that was the NBA. Maybe the NBA is a $10 billion revenue stream. The WNBA is 60 million, so tiny. But every weekend, $10 billion in golf balls are sold. Just that
Every
one
weekend.
That's what sorry,
a year.
A year. Sorry, a year.
Okay.
But sorry, a year. Thank you. So just the golf ball sales alone match the entire revenue for the NBA, National Basketball Association. So the markets are massive, right? You could probably do a show just on golf balls, and get more views than. Do you like any other sports besides
You
CrossFit?
probably could.
Yeah. Do you like any other sports besides CrossFit and Frisbee, Brian? I'm being your life coach right now. I'm being your no, not your life coach, your job coach. Job coach. I have no business being a life coach. Job coach.
I like other sports, but those are the ones that I'm passionate about, and I also think that it's it's kind of cool to hopefully help build something up instead of just jump in with something that's already massive.
Do you think you could pivot to football, and your brain has room for all those dudes and yards, passing, and reception?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I just not like I have to want to do it, and I don't really want to do
that. Eating beaver. I tell my wife that all the time. I have to want to do it. I'm not. You can't make me. Eating beaver Chase. Haven't been able to catch the live show in a while, but still watching the show to get the views. Good. Yeah, just go walk around and turn all the devices. He thinks he's watching Get with the Programming. I had Adrian Conway on here, and I asked him. Yeah, he's great, isn't he? I asked him if he thought Tia or Laura would win. And he didn't want to answer. He felt it would be inappropriate as the commentator. Chase, do you have any thoughts on that? Is it inappropriate?
Well, they do that if you're watch College Game Day for college football, the guys that are calling the main games that are on the desk won't make the picks when they do that segment. And I think there's some sense of professional courtesy and unbiasedness. And Adrian gave a great answer, and it's the answer. It says if we're broadcasting, we want to be as unbiased as possible, right? And we try to be. It's as objective as the situation. It's not personal. We're not looking at these people as people at home. We're looking at them as competitors and athletes on the floor. So I think that is a good call for someone that is doing the broadcast, not to make predictions or picks when it comes to who's going to win or lose.
Ryan, what do you think? You're in the prediction business. Would you stop doing predictions if you started doing commentary?
Only if the employer that I was working for asked me to. I think that even in the case of Crash Crucible, it was actually I was recognizing this in real time as I was calling some of the action, that were athletes out there that I have been critical of, or that I didn't maybe pick to be as high as most people would have expected them to be, or something like that. But that just falls to the wayside once the competition starts. Then it's about what they're doing on the floor. And I think as long as I felt confident that I could separate those two things, then I would be comfortable doing it. But if they asked me not to, then yes, I would just defer to John Young.
Right. I do get the professionalism component. I get the part where you're like, yeah, I shouldn't say. I should keep it unbiased. But I also think, I don't know. I'm very curious who Adrian thinks is going to win.
Well, text him
for the show, for all of us. Yeah, I should. Okay, look. Adrian, can you tell? Wait, I should have said that. Hey, can you tell me off the air? I watched the.
Tell him to write it down on a note card, fold it in half, put it in a sock, and then Monday afterwards, open it and then show it to you.
Oh, perfect. That's good. I like that. Or just send me a text right now with a picture, and I won't open the text.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the interview that Lauren and Sean did with Tia Toomey?
I have not.
Yeah, did you watch that, Chase? Oh, you guys should watch that. I think it's a great interview, and there's a lot of insightful stuff in there.
This is the first week since the games that I've actually had a time to start digesting any CrossFit content that was put out, video content or whatever. And there's been some pretty good stuff that I've watched, but I haven't gotten around to that one. But she doesn't do very many interviews, so it probably is a good one to listen to.
No, and there are some. I didn't hear good things about it, so maybe that. But when I watched it, I actually thought it was great. There are some gems in there. What stuck out to me, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think it's important. It's good to have you here, Chase, for this. What I found is very important is I don't think enough athletes thank the affiliates. So there's a segment at the end where she thanks Bill and Katie for all they've done, and they've done a lot. God knows, Bill and Katie are amazing. She talks about the opportunities they've provided. She talks about the way they treat the athletes at Rogue, all that stuff. But I'm thinking to myself, man, Bill and Katie wouldn't be around if there weren't affiliates. Like the entire ecosystem, like anyone can just start doing some math. Like just for sake of numbers, just pretend like there's 15,000 affiliates, and then just think each of those affiliates spends $5,000 a year at Rogue, or there's 15,000 affiliates and 15,000 of those affiliates spends $5,000 a month on rent, and the numbers start going into the billions of dollars and shit real quickly. And I was just thinking, what do you guys think about that? I think every athlete should take the time once a week to face the East or the West or whatever and thank an affiliate. Like, hey, this thing does not go forward. This thing dies on the vine without the affiliates, I think, for everyone.
Just for sake of clarification, not every affiliate is in California and costs $5,000 a month.
Right. Okay, you can pick. I pick any number, and and the number I'm hearing is there's 13,000.
Is that rent? That's low.
Yeah, but there's other affiliates that have $20,000 a month. Yeah, rent, right?
Sure.
So
most of those are in California.
So, when I think of the food, when I think of the food pyramid, I just see the affiliates down at the bottom of active. I mean, you could put Greg Glassman down there at the bottom too, but of active. Functional parts of the ecosystem that generate, I don't know what, there's probably a metaphor for how the oceans work, like the warming that causes
it's the bedrock.
The bedrock. Thank you. Yeah. Like, hey, just say it. And to all the affiliates out there everywhere who are paying your affiliate fees and keeping the doors open. And imagine this, if every affiliate has 100 members and those members all pay $300 or $200 a month. I mean, it's so obvious that is like you said, the bedrock. That's the fertilizer, the sun, the water. None of it exists. None of it exists. This show doesn't exist. And another part from an affiliate member, you are welcome. Oh, there you go. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. I mean, you're welcome. Or no, I say thank you. No, you are welcome, Sevan. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm trying to understand the relationship. And then the other thing that I was thinking about is all the media that's done for free. So there's this kind of like, there's a little bit of a pool and a little bit of irritation expressed in that podcast with her regarding media that's out there. But dude, all these people are doing it for free and putting their ass on the line. Like, Brian doesn't have a plan B. I don't have a plan B. Pedro's coming home after fucking teaching second grade in a fucking country where it rains 350 days a year. Just behind his computer, need a bag of Doritos, and you know what I mean? It's like, so I just want to throw those two things. Great interview out there. Bill and Katie are amazing. They've taken the sport to a whole nother level. But man, you got to thank the affiliates. Because if you just thank Bill and Katie and you don't thank the affiliates, or you don't thank the people out there doing the media and you're just critical of them, you make it seem like the whole thing is just transactional for you. It comes across extremely superficial. But I don't see it. Do you guys have any disagreement with what I'm saying? Or anything you want to add to it?
No.
To that conversation?
I think the competitive athlete has definitely changed over the last 10 years.
The what?
As far as the competitive athlete.
Hmm.
I feel like they definitely changed. I mean, you look back in the day and it's most of the people competing at the CrossFit Games are CrossFit affiliate owners or managers of a gym or head coaches because they had the time and energy to train enough to be good enough to go to the CrossFit Games when it was a little bit easier to go. Like, I mean, look at Scott Panchep and Rich Froning and like Jason Khalifa and like all of these guys that basically either opened affiliates once they started being competitive or had affiliates or were coaches and then got in the CrossFit space. And it's just
Travis Mayer, Nick Urankar, Annie Thorsdottir. I mean, there's hundreds.
Right. And so that's where I think
Gabe Subry.
It's changed.
We should play a game where we see who can keep naming the longest. Brian, you haven't named one.
Graham Holmberg had one for
Graham
multiple
Holmberg.
times. Chris Spieler.
Hackenbrook. Conway.
Wow.
Hackenbrook.
Wow.
Yeah. And Stacy Tovar is an affiliate owner now.
Sakamoto.
Yeah.
All these
one of
OGs.
the oldest affiliates in the world. It's just different. And I'm not saying different is good or bad, but I feel like the disconnect there is that you see a lot of athletes in these training camps that are training out of an affiliate, but maybe not with an affiliate. So there's a disconnection there. I would like to see that more because you're 100% right. It all stems from the affiliates.
All
of it.
All of it. It all goes away.
And that's just like we're
talking
talking about the competitive people, right? Or even like people in the open. It's only 330,000 people that do the open, but there's millions of people around the world doing CrossFit. And it's because of the affiliates that there are millions of people doing CrossFit. And if it weren't for those people, there'd be nothing. There would be no open. There would be no spectators. There would be no fans. And I think showing appreciation of that where it all does stem from is important, and to bring it back to center. The affiliates are the most important thing in the world when it comes to health and fitness, period. And the stronger we can make them, the more we can support
the CrossFit Games. And it's even more important to the CrossFit Games.
It is the most important thing to the CrossFit Games.
Who owns the NFL network? Is it the NFL?
NFL Network?
Yes. Owned by the National Football League. Okay, the NFL Network. Okay. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, there was, it was called something else a long time ago. There were these guys that went around with actual film cameras, and they filmed, and it was called the NFL. And then I remember when the NFL bought it. This is probably in the 80s.
Oh, like NFL Films?
NFL Films. Yes.
Yeah.
So there was this other thing that Tia brought up that I thought was interesting, and this is going to be a little harder for me to share. But do you remember that Donald Trump phenomenon? Like one weekend, it was like he grabbed someone's pussy, but then he pivoted to something else, and it was like you couldn't keep up and the press couldn't keep up with the bad shit he was doing because he always did something else bad, and so it kind of ended up being like this thing, like a tactic, right? Always say one more outlandish thing or shocking thing so that the stuff you did in the past falls behind, right? I know you're wondering, where the fuck is he going with this? One of the things Tia pointed out is that she'd like to see more positive media. And I think, I don't know specifically, but it sounded like she was specifically talking about Andrew Hiller because she said something about Norwip. She'd like to see more positive media. What needs to happen is that the CrossFit media machine needs to turn on and take that voice and put stuff out every single day to give that kind of Donald Trump phenomenon. Like if there was more, I think if there was more chatter from HQ, they would control the news cycle in our space more than the rest of us are controlling it. I think that's the issue. And then they could control the story, the vibe, the mood.
Yes.
Right? Brian, would you like to see
yes.
that? Or do you like it this way? Part of me is like, hey, shut up, Sevan. This is cool. We're just running the show. Would you like to see HQ get back in the game, or do you think it's working perfectly well? I mean, this was originally the idea in 2018. Hey, we don't need to tell the story. Let the community tell the story. I don't think it's working. which is funny for me to say.
Well, we have much more media in the space because CrossFit got rid of their media team. And so, and
Do we?
part
Is
of
that
their
true? Is that
intention.
true? I'm not pushing back. I just want to know, is that true? You think that there's more? Because
Look at you, look at Mayhem, look at Brian, look at Shut Up and Scribble, look at Coffee Pods and
Shut Up and
look at
Scribble
all
was
of these
Shut Up and
people's.
Scribble was already there, and so was Mayhem.
I like how you put
right?
your thumb up and it's like giving you a thumbs up in
Oh.
the video. That's some weird thing you need to turn off.
I know, definitely. Sorry.
But there's more media in the space and they've grown, right? They may have been there dabbling, but now the floodgates are open. It's the Wild West, and just go grab what you can and promote what you can. What I would like to see is, yes, more stuff coming directly from CrossFit so that all these media outlets have more intentful things to talk about.
Yeah, like control, like what's on the big story, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be great if, when something breaks in the CrossFit space, it's breaking from CrossFit, so that when you come on and do a show about it, you're talking about what CrossFit's talking about.
Right.
There's less assumptions, there's less skepticism. And with all the assumptions and skepticism over the last 5 years, because of lack of media and transparency, I think it's totally fair to have maybe some type of critical eye when it comes to what CrossFit's doing, especially if they're not saying what they're doing. And what I'd like to see more of is like us at least delivering the message, not necessarily controlling the message. Controlling the message would be trying to like put out other people's opinions and fires around the world when it comes to media, but at least providing the message so that when you have your podcast about it, it's talking about what they talked about, and they're referencing the media that CrossFit put out when it comes to that discussion.
Like the weekly show we're trying to do where we cover Dave's weekly in review, or the show when
Exactly.
they came out with the sort of, I don't know what you would, the worldwide ranking. What's the thing that CrossFit came out with? The thing that like decides how many people you get?
It's a worldwide rankings, and then it affects the strength of field distribution or allocation.
Brian and I milked that for fucking a half dozen shows.
Well, I mean, I've been talking about that for years before that, but I actually went to, I don't know if I told you this, Sevan, I went to the U.S. Disc Golf Championships this 2 weekends ago with my brother and Scott Polensky, who came in town.
I like how Scott Polensky always gets mentioned first and last name. Scott Polensky. It's like Snuffleupagus. I don't believe he exists.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Right.
And through actually the guy who runs the Fittest of the Coast, that I'll be working with him in January, he introduced me to someone who's involved with media at the United States Disc Golf Organization. And I had an opportunity to have conversations there with people that were on both the media team and the broadcast team. And both of them, which were totally independent kind of meetings, and it was really, really nice and generous of them. I just told them, I was like, hey, I do very similar stuff for CrossFit competitions all over the world. I have a passion for disc golf. I'm going to be attending this one as a fan. I'd love to take, a half hour, an hour, and just learn how you guys do things, because my perspective as someone who's been digesting that sport for 3 or 4 years now is that they're doing some things that we could really learn from. But I didn't necessarily know what those things were. So I, asked questions based on what I've experienced in CrossFit and what I feel like I've perceived from disc golf. And they both delivered basically the exact same message, was that there was this guy named Jeff Spring. And I know who Jeff Spring is because Jeff Spring is the Dana White or the Dave Castro. Like, he is the guy who's leading the charge. He's the I don't know what his title is, but he's the director of the PDGA or something like that. And he has basically taken an initiative to bring a sport that was very widely covered by a lot of different media outlets and bring the best ones together and all buy into the same system. You and I have reviewed disc golf shows throughout the course of the season, or the first half of the season, and we would watch them on Jomez Pro, which was a post-production company, on GK Pro, on Gatekeeper Media. In Europe, they have similar things like that. He has taken in GK Pro, taken in Jomez Pro, taken in many of these media companies slowly over time. He's got the players to buy in. He's got the media to buy in. He's got the community to buy into what they're doing. And all of those companies still exist in their own regard. They still are called Jomez Pro, but they have a partnership with the Disc Golf Network. They still exist as GK Pro, but they have a partnership with the Disc Golf Network. They still exist as European Disc Golf Coverage, whatever that one is. And it was interesting to me that both of them talked about him, the way that he molded their sport, the coverage of their sport, into something where everyone felt like they were a part of the same thing, even though they still had their own identities, and that was kind of causing everyone to elevate in a certain way within that community. That really stuck out to me. And I started, I was thinking about it as Chase was talking about that. Like, if there, like, obviously there's media companies within CrossFit that are doing very well. And I even saw like some glimpse of this at the games this past year, right? They invited in Buttery Bros, Craig Ritchie, Sevan. They invited in Mayhem, Prove, and HWPO to have partnerships. Now, I'm not exactly the clarity of what each of those things kind of did and how they interact with each other wasn't obvious to me, or maybe to most people, but it was kind of happening.
I'm a little lost. So is this guy purchasing these different media?
I don't know what it looks like on the back end, but basically all of a sudden there was an announcement. Jomez Pro is in partnership with the Disc Golf Network.
So you're saying there's some synergy between all the media outlets?
Not all of them, but between kind of the several of them, yes.
What's interesting is Tia and Sean talk about that also, about how they didn't say this, but I took this, that they would like to see better cooperation between all the people. And Sean actually points out that he would like to see, my words, not his, some etiquette in the way that the athletes are talked about, whether it be formal or informal. He'd like to see it cleaned up. I have to guess that a lot of this is just directed at Andrew, right? The only example that they truly give is they say the no rep thing. She says she doesn't find the no rep thing valuable, talking about no repping people. But she does talk about some sort of etiquette. I do think that it is interesting. I mean, Chase, think of all the different people that you guys work with, right?
Well,
you guys do a fantastic job doing that.
Yeah, I don't want to let that no rep comment necessarily go. Like, I was coaching a class at the gym the other day, and there was this guy super capable. We were doing a front squat, 3 front squats, 1 push jerk as a lifting complex. That was the workout for the day. And he was just coming up 2 inches short of parallel on every front squat. And I know he could do it. And so I told him, I was like, dude, all of those are, I didn't tell him it was a no rep, but I told him from a health perspective, you're shorting yourself of the range of motion that we need more than anything else right now, because we spend so much time in our life sitting down. He appreciated that, and he started moving better. And if he does that consistently over his lifetime of an exerciser, then he'll have better hip function and he'll have healthier later life.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to keep in mind what Andrew's talking about at the very foundational level. He's saying we should be moving well and we should be prioritizing that. And if the sport isn't prioritizing that, then the message that we're sending to the community or any of the fans that are watching is being lost. And if the best athletes with the biggest followings are not meeting the standards and it's functional standards, it's not competition standards. Squatting below parallel and opening your hips fully at the top is something that everyone should be practicing for better quality of life. And if the best in the sport aren't doing it, then the people that are watching them aren't going to realize that that's how they should be moving too.
I think also what's happening is these people are public. So you went over to your client and said it like the way it should be said in a gym. And some people just don't like the way it's being said publicly, but they don't realize, and where they're not giving a little bit of grace, is that Andrew tries to make a video every single day. You're a public figure. This is the medium we're using. And so it's going to come across a little more harsh. That being said, your guy took that feedback well. Whenever my wife starts squatting, I'll be like, hey, you can go lower. She goes, I'm going low enough. I'm like, no, you're not. I've seen you go way lower. And then I keep watching her, and 10 reps later, she's way below parallel. And I go, hey, you just did one. She's like, okay, I felt it. We've had that conversation for 10 fucking years. She always starts back saying no. Every time.
Sevan, speaking of 10
never
years.
No rep your wife, man.
Sevan, do you know what today is a 10-year anniversary of?
What?
Did you read our messages this morning?
No, I tried to.
10 years ago today, I walked into a CrossFit gym for the first time.
No shit.
Yep.
Where at?
In Chicago, CrossFit PFT, Highwood, Illinois.
Crazy. Why'd you do that?
My friends dragged me there because I was depressed about a woman.
I want to come back to that because you said something today that caught me totally off guard.
Hey, Sevan, I gotta go take care of my daughter.
Bye. Thank you for coming on, Chase. Good to see you.
Great
sound.
Chase.
And your computer sounds great. Great sound check.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it does. It really does. You said you were coming on to do
Cool.
a sound check. I'm telling you, you sound great.
Good. Thanks.
I don't think Tia goes on to say that basically she'd like there to be she wants there to be trust and respect between the athletes so that basically they could be more vulnerable with each other and get out more content. It's so interesting. This goes to the professional thing too. This is the big stage, man. People are going to boo from the audience. Hecklers are going to say shit. Like, do we want to go to the next level or do we want to be do we want to be petty? Like, you almost have to lean in and embrace your enemies. Like, it has to be more I get what on one hand I get what she's saying, but I want to see the effort made from the athletes in the same way too. Hey, we have athletes leaving, like a Haley or a Mal, leaving the sport to take a break. I'm trying to think of any other professional sports where I've seen that happen. Does that happen in other professional sports? You ever heard of like a NFL football player like taking a at the top of their
Personal
game?
leave.
Yeah, like I've never seen
time
a
of their
quarterback
career.
be like, "Hey,
Maybe.
I'm taking."
That's rare.
Yeah. And so as we climb,
I mean, to some extent, Michael Jordan did that.
oh, yeah, I could see that. I see what you're saying. After he accomplished a lot.
Yeah, he was burnt out, and the people have different opinions about why, but he, basically took 2 years off from the thing he was the best in the world at, and then he came back to it when he was ready.
Sevan, Brian just big leagued you. No, big dicked me.
About what?
Who knows? Extra sloppy. The media team did a great job at utilizing the games and much, much more to bolster affiliates. We need that again. Good conversations. Okay, good. So meaning while the games were being streamed, there were lots of affiliate commercials and like trying to talk people into the value of what CrossFit has to offer. I didn't get to watch the live stream this year. It was weird. I was actually there.
I'm not sure if she's talking about this year or just historically over time or in the past, but
you think this is a you think this is a she? You used a she pronoun. You think this is
look at the picture?
She? Yeah, I just can't think of a girl would use the name extra sloppy.
Maybe we don't know the same girls.
Yeah, true. Good point. The media team did a great job at utilizing the games. Oh, and you're not even saying it specifically this games.
Yeah, it's just saying the way that sentence is written, I'm not sure.
You tried any peptides yet?
I have not.
You want to try some peptides?
What do you think that I would use them for?
CJC 1295.
Yeah. What would be the purpose for me to use them? And
so your skin would have this like soft glow appearance, like mine did. Your aches and pains would go away.
You don't like my skin?
No, you have great skin. Let me know. CJC 1295. Miss Riddell. All right. Straight into Brian Friend part 2. Well, that leads me to my next question. Your fitness journey was hard. Mine was easy. Did you say your fitness journey was hard? Going from 135 to 170? Like, what's he talking about?
It's it was really hard for me to gain weight. I wouldn't say my fitness journey was necessarily hard. Probably the worst thing as far as CrossFit is concerned is that I just didn't have good coaching early on. And part of that was on me, that I wasn't like really receptive to it. I was just kind of going to the gym and throwing down with my friends and competing and pushing. And it was like, so that was 2013 October, and probably it was 2016 CrossFit Games where I realized that I had pretty poor movement quality. And so I kind of had to go back and attempt to reverse a lot of the bad habits that I developed. So that was maybe and then around that same time, I decided that I wanted, I got back up to 150 pounds pretty quickly, but I couldn't really gain any weight from there. And so I made a concerted effort to try to gain weight, and I gained those 25 pounds over like a 5-year period of time.
You walked into the gym 10 years ago today weighing 135.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the least you'd ever weighed as an adult?
Yeah, and part of it was just because I'd been living in the Dominican Republic, where the diet was pretty sparse with a lot of chicken, rice,
lots of diarrhea, crazy diarrhea.
Well, the body adapts to and it learns how to process a variety of different foods and diets if that's what you give it regularly.
And what do you weigh now?
175.
That's 40 pounds, if I'm doing the math correctly.
Mm-hmm.
In college one time I did MDMA for a month straight, and I dropped to 137. And I basically
from what?
I just stopped eating. I
No,
just
no.
lived.
What did you weigh previously?
Oh,
to that?
I don't know, 155.
Okay.
And at basically at 135, you're not eating. You're just not eating.
I was eating. I just was.
But you ate like
no.
like a banana a day. It's like one banana.
No.
No?
I was eating full meals. I was eating, whatever they were providing down there. It's just I was running and swimming for exercise because we lived on the, in the Mediterranean, right on the coast, and I was walking around active all day and no lifting weights. So I had, the only like muscle I had that it was like well defined at all was my calves, which always have been. Other than that, I was just like super skinny.
Is this the heaviest you've been your entire life?
I was up to about 180 like maybe a year ago. I got sick. I lost like 10 pounds and then I was able to put 5 of it back on. But I have to try to gain weight. And then like, as most people who've experienced an attempt to gain or lose weight over time will know that there's a difference between putting it on or taking it off and then building a sustainable life at that new weight. So like I could get up to, 180, but I couldn't keep it at 180. Like then it took me another like several months to be able to maintain that. And actually I haven't been able to maintain 180.
Would you want to?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty happy right now with like my overall strength and the balance of composition of my body.
How tall are you?
5'10".
That's crazy. 5'10", 175, and the idea that of trying to put on weight and not being able to is like unbelievable to me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of people are like envious of, because most people have the opposite experience. But
Yeah.
what John Young and JR were talking about this morning, it's like, no, that's like, it's a real problem. Like there are people like me that gaining weight is just as hard or harder than it is for people that are, attempting to lose weight. And even though I would say I'm grateful that I have this problem as opposed to the other one, it doesn't mean that it's not frustrating and challenging.
Heidi Kroom, Brian is 6 feet tall on Tinder. Are you?
Heidi, you can't be on Tinder anymore.
Sean Lenderman, I struggle to stay under 230. Jeff Birchfield, 220. Wow. Tess. Look at Tess sitting on the podium. Look at the person in first place has got like their clothes in a grocery bag or something. I went from 96 pounds to 196. Dude, you can't give blood at 96. You're too little. Yeah. I went from 96 to 118 pounds in 6 years of CrossFit.
In a bit like percentage basis, that's a very, very similar experience to what I've had.
22 pounds. Dude, that's like 1/5 of her body weight.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I wonder what this is in reference to. Jackie, UFC is a competition, but you can go to a BJJ gym or boxing gym or MMA gym, etc. You can go to any gym and do CrossFit too.
You can go to some gyms and do all those things.
Yeah. Robbie Myers, I completely get it. I cannot gain weight forever at 160. Wow. So
anyway, this is for people like that are wondering, how did I gain the weight? So it took me, I was gaining like five pounds per year basically, and I pretty much just like stopped running, and so I was lifting every twice as much. I had a lifestyle where I could like sustain that. I could get enough sleep, I could eat, rest, whatever, and I was just lifting up more, and then I just started eating a lot. So I was trying to eat a minimum of 3,000 and trying to get to 4,000 calories a day. It's pretty difficult to do that while also eating like the prescribed CrossFit diet. So, and I never was really a big fan of drinking carbs. So I was eating, tacos and pizza as like the last meal of the day, a lot of days in a dish after eating, steak and rice and eggs and oatmeal and stuff during, the majority of the day, just to get extra carbs in before bed or calories in before bed, and then go to sleep. And but it still took me a while to do it. And now I can eat much more normally and maintain this weight. But the crazy thing is, like, like you mentioned, I went to Power Monkey camp, and I had a big conversation with Chris Hinshaw there, and he basically said, dude, you're just like me. After watching me in his class for 2 hours, he's like, you're never going to be strong. You have 80% slow twitch muscle fibers, and that's just how it is. So like, even though I was lifting all that, like I was lifting a lot more, my bench press, my back squat, my deadlift, like they never really went up. I just became stronger at percentage based weights. I can't really push those upper numbers because that's just my body.
Were you are when you say push those weights, there was this guy I used to work out with, and my max bench press was 185 and his max bench press was 220 or something. This is forever ago, but I could out rep him with 135.
Right. So that's exactly what he's talking about. And if you've listened to him over the years, the athlete that is the elite athlete that's most like that was Julie Fouché. So she could not compete on the 1 rep maxes, but even at like 95% of her 1 rep max, she could cycle it better than anyone.
Yeah. That's crazy. I think my max deadlift I did 15 reps, but I could never do more than that either. It was crazy.
Actually, the heaviest bench press I've ever done was in a competition, and it was a 3 rep max bench press. I PR'd it and did it for 2 more reps. So
yeah, that's crazy. Wow, that's interesting. Fascinating. Slow twitch. I don't feel like I'm slow. Do you feel like you're slow? I don't feel slow.
Yeah,
but I guess I don't know what
twitch. Like there's like when I do Fran, there's guys that finish the 21 thrusters in 25 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm on like rep 10.
Well, I know I'm slow based on other people, but I mean, I don't feel slow. Like when I look at my cleans or whatever, like I've seen people who just are slow. Like they're like almost like they're trying to control the movement. They're not explosive.
Well, look, when I was 15 and my brother was 10, he could beat me in a 10-yard sprint because I was just slow off the line. I've always been slow off the line.
Interesting.
But anything over 10 yards, I could beat him, and the farther the better.
Tank Reeves from Canada. World War III is live. Oh, that's cool. Okay. God, I hope it doesn't come to the USA. United States lies about wanting peace and veto it just before. $100 billion to Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan. People are still dying from the clot shot. Thank you. Oh, thank you for the money.
What a great picture that one is. It looks like Ursula from Little Mermaid.
God, I hope a war doesn't break out over in Taiwan. Do you know about Taiwan and their semiconductors and all that?
No, for better or worse, I kind of started tuning that stuff out about 10 years ago.
Look at Sarah Cox. I will send you a peptides package, Brian.
Hi, Sarah.
Peptides. I'm very curious what you'll think of them.
I've been intrigued. I've spoken with some people who have used them, and the results are quite profound from what I understand. Very effective.
Yeah, crazy. I tried to get my mom. My mom told me her foot's bothering her. I'm like, Mom, peptides. But she won't listen to me, so I told her to ask her doctor. I wonder what doctor would say about them.
From your experience with doctors in CrossFit that just because one doctor says something doesn't mean all doctors will say it. There's probably at least 2 or 3 different camps of doctors that would give different recommendations.
I know. Maybe the doctor she goes to, though, won't give her any of those recommendations.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, I never really go to doctors, but when I was coaching in Chicago, there were like 4 or 5 doctors or nurses that were members of the gym. And when I would, get sick or something would happen, I would reach out to a couple of them, and the information was never consistent. One person would recommend something else, something the other one would say something that was like sometimes the total opposite of that. So I don't know.
My last trip to the doctor, they gave the guys I started asking about fasting and autophagy just to feel him out. He knew nothing about fasting. He didn't know what autophagy was. And by the way, autophagy is when you start fasting, your body starts eating itself. People who don't know what it is. And he's like, hey, if you want to be healthy, just follow this. And he goes to this printer and he prints out a packet. And one of the first things up there was always cook with canola oil. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're headed off to Rogue soon? Tomorrow?
No.
Next week.
Next Wednesday.
I got my weeks confused. And then we do a show on Tuesday.
I said I will be seeing you again prior to leaving. I'm pretty excited for that one.
Yeah.
I think it. Have you guys already put it on the schedule?
I wonder how heavy I could get. I think it is on the schedule. I wonder how heavy I could get. I wonder if I saw this meme the other day and it said, God, what did it say?
Should I wear a wife beater to that show?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Do you own wife beaters?
No.
Oh, that would be awesome. If I
Maybe
send you some, will you wear it?
Back up.
What?
Yeah, I got to intimidate Mr. Young.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. The most I ever weighed was 182 pounds, and I was trying to bench 225. And I was eating everything, and I was taking as much creatine as I could, and I was just going nuts. I never benched 225. I never got it. And
You
then
said that 185 was your max.
Well, that was then, but since I've gotten 220,
Oh,
but
okay.
but I just wanted to put both 245s on. You know what I mean? Just wanted to, and I never did it. But I saw this meme the other day, and it said something like, "My fitness journey is constantly working hard and always being 10 pounds heavier than I want to be." I'm like, oh, that sums it up for me. But you've never even experienced that. Have you ever been so heavy? Have you ever been too heavy? Have you ever been like, I need to be lighter? You've never experienced that?
No, I mean, so when I have been over these past several years, when I gain the weight, I do notice the impact, like on gymnastic skills, for example.
Yeah.
So then I won't go beyond that weight until I can regain the same capacity of gymnastics that I had at the previous weight. That's kind of how I monitor it. So I'm not wanting to do that.
So if you have 10 strict pull-ups and then one day you go out and you only have 9, you'll be like, oh, I need to lose a little weight.
No, I need to practice moving this new weight through space more.
Okay.
Get stronger.
I need to get stronger before I put on another 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Allegra R. CrossFit wants to grow the affiliates, but doesn't leverage Tyson Bagent talking about CrossFit on the Bears press conference. I've said welcome back, Brian. I've said so much about that. Do you have any thoughts on that, Brian? Did you see the clip that he said?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's beautiful, isn't it? His dad was an affiliate owner. And that kid's been doing CrossFit since he's been a little kid. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's gaining a lot of traction on a lot of different platforms. And people that quote and of written quote and spoken quote, and Andrew's keeping track, so we can see.
Mr. Hiller is keeping track. Yeah, I all you need to do is go over to their YouTube station and you can see where they're at with their media. And it screams volumes. So, Ernie, where's Ernie? I'm Sevan's height, maybe an inch shorter, and haven't been able to get heavier than 152. Went down to 138 in Europe, and 3 weeks back, I'm at 142, slowly but surely. I bet you I'm 170 right now.
Really?
I think so. I would guess. I've been eating like an asshole.
You have been?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, not relative to like the rest of America, but you know what I mean? Like heavy cream and like for me eating like an asshole is like heavy cream in my coffee. Ate a piece of pizza. Yeah, did you ever try that to put on weight? Just shitloads of heavy cream.
No.
Do you like heavy cream?
Yeah, it's all right.
Do you use it every day?
No, I just whole milk in my coffee.
Oh, Brian, are you too cheap to buy heavy cream?
I don't know. I like it.
What?
I just like it.
Whole milk?
Yeah.
No.
You don't have to like it.
No, but you don't like it either. Let me explain it to you. Have you had heavy cream in your coffee?
Yeah.
Are you drinking a pitcher of something? What's your cup?
It's just water.
Oh. Why would you ever put whole milk over heavy cream?
I don't know.
Oh, that's got to end. That sounds like I feel like you're doing that to try to save money.
No.
All right. The flip side is that if Tyson bombs, CrossFit may be blamed. No. Listen, it was so crazy the journey he took to get there. No one's going to blame CrossFit. Nobody. Any other topics? It was nice of you to come on today.
I watched the thing that Will made following Crucible.
Oh, dude, crazy response that's getting, right?
What I realized watching it is how nice your voice comes across when I don't have to look at you.
Wow. Wow. That is that's quite the observation. Yeah, this is
Wow, I just realized every time we do these things, I'm actually looking at you, and it's different to listen to someone when you're not looking at them. And I really thought that your voice came across very good for that.
I'm
things
in
that you
this.
clipped from you. Yeah, there's voiceovers of both of us. Yours is probably right towards the beginning. Anytime there's a competition thing, and you sound great.
Now I just need to learn the names of the athletes. Oh my God, when you gave me the heat list, that changed everything for me. This is the Crash Crucible finale drama featuring James Sprague, Colton Mertens, Fish, Hatfield, Coot. I still have Coot on my desk. Coots. Still have the bird on my desk.
He asked me about that. He's like, why is everyone calling me a bird?
Coots. And this totally caught me off guard that Will made this. I wonder why Will made this.
I talked to him.
What's the story going?
I talked to him at the gym 2 days ago. I think I saw him there in Charlotte, and he was like, "Yeah, I think he spent like 14 hours working on it."
And he's like turned into like a budding filmmaker. Like that's what he's doing. He's already like good at it.
Dude, he's so talented. Yeah.
This is already has 6,000 views from 3 days ago.
Yep.
It's crazy. He owns a camera.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he does all that content for SMTP.
Damn, Pedro's running the. Pedro got the first 3 minutes.
Play it. Go back and play it.
He looks out for everyone, and
actually go back like 10. Go back like 10 or 20 seconds from here. This is the most profound thing that was said in this.
And
dollar amount per.
Yeah, like I wonder if you buy a 1, is it like $5? If you buy a 1 and a 0, it's $10. And then if you buy a 100, you get the other 0 free. buy 2 get 1. I don't think it's cheap, but the thing about JR is if he takes in like $20,000 for this competition, it's like literally your account will be like incoming 20,000, outgoing 20,000, and $5 probably. Like he doesn't take anything he gets, he puts in, and you can see it with all the equipment he has, the flooring, the layout, the judges. I haven't heard any volunteer, any person that's here, or any person that's like giving up their time to be here. I haven't heard anybody complain about like, oh, this is bullshit or whatever. And you always hear that at events.
Pause that.
So he looks out for everyone.
Did you hear that? What he just said?
No, something about you always hear what at events?
Peter goes to a lot of events. He talks to a lot of people when he's there. And what he's basically saying is whether it's volunteers, judges, athletes, fans, there's always people complaining about something at events. And he didn't hear that the entire time he was at Crash.
No one complained about the event.
No judges complaining, no volunteers complaining, no athletes, no fans. Everyone, like JR has created an environment for those competitions in which everyone is satisfied with the experience. That's really rare.
Hey, why do you think JR, I don't know if you're going to like this conversation. Even if you don't like this conversation, let's talk about it. Force yourself to talk about it, okay? Just force yourself. Ready?
Okay.
Just force yourself. I want to ask you about the COVID injection. No. Why doesn't, just pretend like this is me and you on the phone talking, okay? Why isn't JR coaching Jason Hopper? What the fuck is going on? Let's speculate about that.
There's a difference between programming and coaching.
I know, but like JR is going to be like, oh, it's because every time you talk to let me ask you this: when you talk on the phone with JR, what is the reason you get off the phone every single time, 100% of the time?
Either he's coaching a class or he's got to go take care of his kids.
Yep. For me, it's always his kids. Always his kids. Listen, which is fine. Mad respect for that. I like that. And it's abrupt. You'll just be in the middle of conversation. Got to talk to my daughter. And he just hangs up. The only other person I know who really does that, just hangs up on me regularly, would be Dave Castro. Like, just in the middle of the conversation, he's done. I could just tell he's done. And he just, hello?
The first podcast the only podcast I ever did with him was you and I at the West Coast Regional. You asked him a question he didn't like, and he goes, "All right, see you later."
He just got up and left.
Take off his headphones, gone.
Why can't he should be coaching? I know he has his kids, and I know he has his gym, and I know he wants to do competitions, but I think he needs to coach Jason. I think Jason needs to be a J.R. Howell athlete. J.R. needs a games athlete. I guess he does have a games athlete. He had the lady in the adaptive division. What's her name?
Noelle Henderson.
Yeah. Why does Noelle get him and Jason doesn't?
She wants him. She asked him. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what that relationship is like. If he's programming for her, if he's just, he's just there at the gym when she's working out a lot and gives her feedback or talks strategy with her about different workouts or whatever. But I'm sure Jason.
Would you like to see JR coach Jason?
I think it'd be cool. I think that it'd be a good challenge for both of them.
It'd be fun, right? Do you want a games would you take on a games athlete, or would you have a bunch of excuses too? You'd be like, I have commentating to do and I can't give it my all. And
if someone asked me, I would just probably explain to them very clearly, like, this is what my life is like. This is my availability. And if it's still something they're interested in, then let's talk about it from there.
Jeremy E. World, there was someone complaining from Masters athletes about performance scoring.
I was hoping Jeremy would be here to keep us accountable.
Listen. All the Masters athletes are born complaining. As soon as you turn 35, you start complaining. You get 2 complaints per day. That still is negligible.
You know what was cool is that the experience that the athletes that I spoke to about the performance scoring was vast. A lot of the athletes there have competed at Crash before, and a lot of them competed last year. We had a Z-score last year, similar idea. And then there were athletes who were competing there knowing that there was performance scoring. And part of the reason that they went there was to experience that, or because they thought it was cool and they wanted to experience it. And then there were other athletes that went there to do the competition that didn't know that was a scoring system, and they found out about it in some cases very harshly on day number 1, and they got 0 points on one of the 2 events. And I was able to talk to a couple of each of those, either during the competition or afterwards. And it was cool. The cool thing about it was the open-mindedness, is that people, like, even athletes that I actually think are quite intelligent and were asking critical questions about the scoring, they were genuinely listening to me and Tyler as we gave them the answers. And I wasn't trying to sell them yes or no on this. I was just answering their questions to say, this is what's happening, and this is why. This is how we used to do it. This is how we do it now. This is why those athletes have 0 points. This is why the gap here was this compared to that. And I actually, I put some examples into the World Tour Memoirs Stop 9 that I wrote about Crucible, where I actually broke down some of those examples from the competition with regards to some of the top athletes in the event.
Why do they care if they get 0 points? Like, if you get 0 points in performance-based scoring, you were only going to get 5 or 10 or 20 points anyway. I mean, like, you're at the bottom of the fucking heap.
What they were upset about is that they got the same number of points as someone that they did better than. And what we're basically saying to them is neither of you were good enough at that thing to register any points on the scale relative to your competitors. You guys were, even though you were a little better than me.
That was a great explanation. Thank you. I didn't think I was going to understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I still beat someone. Why don't I get something? Why do I why?
Basically what it's saying, and basically what we're saying is that, no, you weren't. Yes, you did beat that person, but neither of you were good enough to register on our scale. The competition you went against was so much better than both of you that, the only option for you is 0 points or negative points. And there are some people that have suggested that we have negative points.
No disrespect, but he's not Matt Fraser. Maybe JR doesn't have time. I don't know. I don't understand what you mean by he's not Matt Fraser. Of course he's not Matt Fraser. Are you suggesting that somehow being named Matt Fraser makes you a better coach than if your name's JR Howell? I don't understand. Explain.
So what I'll say about Matt Fraser is, as a coach, if you are interested in pursuing the elite level of competition, if you want to get better at the smallest margins of the elite things that happen in this sport, I'm not sure that there's anyone better than Matt Fraser to coach those things. But it comes at a price. What Matt requests or demands from his athletes is a lifestyle that I don't think very many can sustain. He could do it. He had a perfect setup for that.
I could do it.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, I could.
I don't think you'd be willing to give up, but you'd have to give up to do it.
100% I would. I didn't understand any of Jason's pushback. I couldn't empathize. It was I heard it, but I couldn't empathize. I would not need to be. I would never push to be a games athlete and be worried about what my mom thinks. And I wouldn't put
that's
God.
Not what I'm talking about.
Or not my mom thinks, what my wife thinks. But I also wouldn't. Sorry, go ahead. What were you talking about? What do you think he does? The only thing I can't do is I can't go to the pain cave. But all the nuances are the easy parts. Sit in your room all day, come out and just train.
That is not easy for everyone.
Oh, what? That's the part I don't understand.
Jason, to me, Jason, he needs friends. He needs fun. He needs to play mini golf. He needs to play Monopoly Deal. He needs to have people that he can just joke around with. And when he was living in Vermont, he had his wife and he had the gym, and that was about it. You know, he didn't have those other elements of his community. And Mal O'Brien, same thing. Like, she came from a place where she knew a lot of people and she had outlets. And when she's gone back there since, it just feels like she's having more fun in her training because she's having more fun in her life. Matt was, and it seems like maybe he always has been this way, but like he thrives in an environment that's very small.
I used to just sit in a room for days and just fucking draw at Jason's age. And you know what I would do if I was Jason? And I'm just saying, this isn't a discredit to Jason. And I
you were
hear
high
you
the whole day.
Maybe I would just read scripture all day and ask God for guidance.
I don't think that'll satisfy his what his just like neurological body wants and needs.
Right. Oh God. Oh, I don't know. I don't like your description. What about this? Did you watch that podcast?
I have not.
Okay. This was my takeaway from it. I was thinking about actually calling Jason and telling him this. I feel like he's putting God between him and his goals instead of using God to get to his goals.
Possible. I don't feel like I can speak intelligently on that on his behalf.
Yeah. It was interesting. Like, instead of like, dear God, give me the power to make it through this, it was like, hey, I need to put God first. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, but also, like, I openly admit that, like, I can't understand that not want. I mean, could you do it? Do you like being alone? I think you could do it. You love being alone, don't you?
I have spent a lot of time alone in my adult life. But I always feel, I would say, like, I also enjoy having, social outlets. So,
yeah,
it's not like that. There's amazing disc golf here, but I don't have any disc golf friends. So yesterday I wanted to play disc golf and I just went and played by myself. And, I wish I had some friends that I could invite to go play with me.
Because JR cares about his affiliate and being a dad more than Jason. Fine, then care about Jason more. I want to see him coach Jason. Oh man, there's a horrible question in here. Do you see it? Can you see the comments? Jeez.
I could if I wanted to. I'm not looking at them.
Yeah, there's a horrible question. Matt Burns, that is a rotten question. I usually don't think there's any bad questions. I do think Jason did seem like he's gone through quite the transformation. He told me before, he goes, I've bloomed, and he clearly has bloomed, right? And I'd never understand the emotional,
personality-wise, or as an athlete,
his skills in articulating what he's thinking and feeling, or maybe he's just thinking and feeling more maybe it's not his articulation skills that grew. Maybe he's just feeling and
Well, I mean,
and thinking more.
I haven't studied this on my own, but supposedly the male brain especially continues to develop all the way through 25 years old. So, I had thought the exact same thing when we had Colton Mertens on the other day. I'm like, man, talking to this guy is so different from when we talked to him 3 years ago.
He said that he made a concerted effort to come out of his shell when he comes on podcasts.
But and that might be true, but it also might maybe, and I'm not an expert in this, it might just be that he's developed mentally, or his brain has come along to a place where he can tap into that more easily.
There was this thing that Jason said yesterday that I just absolutely loved. I was having trouble. Basically, he was saying he's emotionally in a bad place. And then my little inner voice was like, you fucking pussy. And I was like, can you explain that to me? And when he explained it to me, like, I fully fucking got it. And I was so appreciative of it because I didn't get it at first. Basically, he was saying, hey, I worked 6 months nonstop, singularly focused on performing on this particular weekend called the CrossFit Games. And in return, I didn't get what I wanted. So it's like on prom night when he walked the girl to the door, she didn't kiss him. He's like, fuck, I worked 6 months, saved money, rented the limo, got the tux. I didn't even fucking get the kiss, right? And so he's hurt. He's like emotionally hurt that he put that much work into getting something and it didn't work out. So he's gun shy. He doesn't want to do the same thing again and again. He doesn't want to go back to that and get the same results. So now he's working out 2 hours a day and he's going to show up to Rogue and see what happens. And I fully got it. Like that I don't even think, like, I fully got it.
Well, he's not the first person that's pursued that. Think about all the athletes in recent years that we know are training, 1 to 2 hours a day, most of the days of the year.
Yeah.
And then after qualifying for the CrossFit Games, they'll ramp that up a little bit. And I'm talking about Stacy Tovar. I'm talking about Ariel Lowen. I'm talking about, people that are having success in their divisions at the games, and they're not doing 4, 6, 8 hours of training, all year round. I personally don't think that that's necessary for most of the top competitors. The more that I've spent around, the more that I've time that I've been around them, talked to them, observed it, that's not sustainable. I don't think that's physically sustainable over a long period of time. You have to have a really specific body and lifestyle set up to be able to do that.
Yeah, that too. I was just more focused on the fact that what it means to be emotionally.
Olsen has talked about this.
Wounded.
He's like, when I'm competing when I'm training and competing and having fun, I generally do better than when I'm like training and competing with a very serious mindset and focus on a singular goal that I may or may not achieve. And I think we had Brent Fikowski on a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about this. He said, I had to learn to, and athletes all will have to learn to separate their performance from their ranking. You could go there, and actually Lydia Fish spoke about this too. And when we talked to her, is her proudest moment from Crash Crucible was her worst event finish. She's 19 years old and she's already figured that out.
Wow. That was Lydia Fish said that?
Yeah.
You had her on your show?
Same one as Colton. Yeah, she came on towards the end.
Oh, you had 2 on one show. Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Sevan, can you accept that other people aren't like you?
I need more water. Question's making my mouth dry.
Barely, just barely. Just fucking barely. Just barely. I'd like to explore that more. Maybe I need a therapist.
I'm sure there's a good therapist out there you could invite on one of these morning shows so you guys could have a little public talk about it. That'd be cool.
about my inability to think that anyone thinks differently than me. Joe Westerland, training full time is the hardest job. In fact, Brian, ready? This is why all the elite OCD, ADHD are some flavor of tism.
So and it's just this thought about you can still spend 8 hours a day as a professional athlete, but what you're doing during those 8 hours of the day doesn't all have to be in the gym. If you can have 2 hours in the gym, 3 hours in the gym during the day and where you're feeling great and maximizing that time, then you can take the rest of the day to do the things that you need to feel great, to maximize the time the next day. Cook your own food, eat it slowly, get it, take a nap, get 10 to 12 hours of sleep during a 24-hour cycle, eat meals at the right time, go on a walk, spend some time in the sun, all these different things. And you can do those without stressing about, I have to do this and I have to do this. So I would say that it's a difficult job for sure, but I think there are different ways to manage it. And I think that a lot of athletes and coaches are exploring those, especially people who've been doing it for a long period of time. They're trying to find those different balances and seeing, because their capacity is there. So they could do it. They could be in the gym for 6 hours, but I think some of them are starting to realize they don't need to do that year round.
When I hear all this, I think I trained 3 professional athletes. I train the shit out of 3 professional athletes, and you're right. They do get a lot of downtime, but how they spend that downtime is like really important. They don't spend my athletes don't spend any time on social media, 0, whatever that means. And they don't actually do any screen time unless while the sun's out. And they never wear shoes. My athletes never wear shoes unless the task they're performing requires shoes. Ever. And they train every day.
Most days.
Yeah. 2 or 3 days a month they don't train. There's some training almost every day. Yeah, it's interesting. And they do spend a lot of time outside. Hours every day. Fuck, I might be the greatest trainer that ever lived, and I don't even know it yet. Holy shit.
You remember when I first started writing for the Morning Chalk Up, I asked to write an article about what you're doing with those athletes?
Yeah. And they said they wanted to send a better writer than you to do it. You weren't good enough to capture.
That's not what they said, but it was never going to happen.
They said, dude, it's so profound what he's doing over there, Brian. You're just not good enough.
No, I mean, I was paying attention back then, and I was watching. I was like, this, what he's doing with these kids is really, it's unique and it's cool. And I think that it's something that people should be aware of and give some thought to.
Yeah. It's cool. Miss Elise Riddell, your athletes sound like my 3 athletes. Good. Yeah. It's just straight.
And the thing is, like, I think back to my childhood, like we were outside all the time. We weren't maybe training the disciplines that you have your kids in, but we'd come home from school and the neighbors' kids would come over and we would be just playing outside. And if we weren't playing outside, we were going to sports practices and doing those things and just active every day.
Chris, this dude has 6 kids. Chris, you have 6 kids? Wow.
Are you having fun this morning?
Yeah, it's cool. This is cool. It's better than what I would have. It's good that you're on here. It's better than what I would have talked about. I would have brought myself got myself in a tizzy.
I saw the B-boy gravity and I was like, I gotta listen to this one. And
dude,
I would be writing and listening to it otherwise, but I was like, oh no, he's not. He's by himself. Let's just see. And I didn't even know if you'd see the comment.
I watched so much of his content. And it was in it that he's put out, and it's so good. And man, he's a vulnerable man, and what a powerful, powerful human being he is. And it looks like he's going to the Olympics. He went to Kamala Harris's house for that hip hop party.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, that being said, I was talking about how Tia was saying thank you to she should say thank you to the affiliates. I do want to say this too, and like fuck, everyone should go pile into her DMs and tell her this. her coming back, she says this great line in there, Brian. Man, she's such a competitor. She says, hold on. She basically, everyone knows that I'm impatient. And she's not rushing the process, but this is her explanation. I'm not rushing the process, meaning the process of coming back from birth, growing a child in her and birthing a child. I'm not rushing the process to get back out onto the field, but I'm seeing what is possible. And there's a little bit of cool mental gymnastics there, but I'm digging it. I'm feeling her. And the fact that she's doing this, I'm not saying she
the hell is that?
I don't know. I'm not saying she's doing it for us, but the fact that we get to see her compete against Laura is probably the most exciting thing. The more and more I get my head wrapped around it in the sport that I can remember ever. And maybe you could pull some stuff out and remind me of different, but off the top of my head, this is the most excited I've ever been about a competition. And I'm very, very thankful that her and Shane are doing it. Very thankful. It's cool. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things where you can't, I don't think you can necessarily plan the timing of it. Like she could have given birth in February, and she may not have been able to do the Open, so we couldn't have seen her do the games 6 months later just because of the timing of things.
Right.
So this one just happens to work out really well, where it's an elite competition that she's won multiple times before. She's the best that we've ever seen to do that competition, and it's an invitational, so she doesn't have to qualify. Her credentials speak for themselves. They can invite who they want to. There's an open spot. They invited her. So it's like kind of lined up in a way that you can't plan otherwise. Most of the athletes that we have seen come back and compete from pregnancy has been at the CrossFit Games. However, this past weekend, we saw Brianna Wallen coming off of giving birth to twins 9 or 10 months after giving birth to those. And so, yeah, the women in this sport are pushing that boundary more and more. We saw Cara Saunders and Annie Thor's daughter do it like 12 and 14 months after birth and competed at very, basically the highest level. Wallen just did it a little bit shorter time domain. She was finishing the top 10 against, a decent field of competitors there. And now Tia's trying to do it in basically 6 months time. And so she is testing or pushing the boundaries in a way that we haven't seen yet at the highest level.
And there was the other lady who just had birth too. She at the Crash Crucible,
Haley Murillo.
And I had forgotten that that lady that was on Tommy Hackenbrook's team, her last name is Lindsay. I always want to call her first name Lindsay. She's breastfeeding in between semifinal events. But going back to the Tia Toomey piece, she's bringing what is she? She has six victories, CrossFit Game Championships.
Oh yeah,
she's bringing her 6 CrossFit Game wins with her. Like, this is kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity. We're not going to see ever the greatest ever step away from the sport, have a kid, and then compete right away with the person who won when they were out. I mean, it's wild, dude. It is fucking wild. It doesn't get any better than that. Can you think of a better?
She hasn't lost an in-person competition since 2016. That's what she's putting on the line.
Yeah, it's so much. Is this the most interested you've ever been in a competition? Can you think of any other 2 athletes you ever wanted to see compete
probably
more?
not. I don't know if I'm the fairest person to ask that to. I have a high level interest in a lot of them, but yeah, it's super
compare
compelling.
Compare it to something. What would be? I would be less interested to see Matt and Rich compete now, to be honest with you. It's been too long. I wouldn't put any weight on who won.
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, yes, I have a tremendous interest in both of the fields at Rogue. I actually don't think that Emma Lawson is out of the conversation to win the Rogue Invitational. I
agree. And the men. I just can't wait to see Rick. Is Vellner going to Rogue?
Yeah, and I think there are
at
least 5 men that could win the Rogue Invitational. So it's to me, this is probably the most excited I've been for Rogue ever, just because of those 2 things. Is that I think they're Oh, and when in the past, anytime that Tia showed up to compete, it was like, okay, Tia's going to win, and we'll see what goes from there. And for the last couple of years, like the winners of the Rogue Invitational have been Fraser, Vellner, Medeiros. Like fairly predictable. Fraser wasn't in the field when Vellner won. Vellner had gotten second the year before. He won. Medeiros won both years that he was coming off the Games Championship. It's kind of expected. Yes, it was close last year, but this year it's like, Adler's coming off the win, but Roman injured on the last day. Ricky wasn't there because he'd hurt himself. Vellner came within 2 reps of winning this thing last year. Chandler Smith's always been in his performances at Rogue are always better than they are at the games, and he just come off his best finish ever at the games after taking second last year. So to me, it's super compelling. Well, I mean, Heidi is just like, first of all, we should definitely not discount Emma Lawson and what she's done up to this point in her career. I think that it would be a little bit silly to put that past her, but we just don't know. Like, we have no idea how Toomey's body is.
Emma can so win. Emma can so win.
And if you think that that's true, what Heidi said, then you would have to say the same thing about Laura.
Heidi Kroom, you're high if you think Lawson is beating Toomey. Are you high, Brian?
No. So you'd have to say that you'd also think that you're high if you're gonna if Laura's gonna beat Toomey in that regard, because it's just like we don't know what's gonna happen with Toomey. My belief is that she would not be going to compete there if she didn't think that she could last the competition, and believe that with a lot of confidence, and B, that she could win it. If she didn't, I really think if she didn't think she could win it, that she wouldn't show up. It doesn't mean she's going to. Thank you, Julian. That's awesome.
Julian, I think it's Julian. Is it a boy or a girl? If it's a boy, it's Julian.
How do you pronounce Miranda Alcaraz's husband's name?
Julian.
Okay.
If it's a girl, it's Julian.
Okay.
That's not true.
What if it's like if you're born in
that guy who hangs?
It's Julian, but if you're born in Baja California, it's Julian.
Yeah, maybe that's more accurate. Because the guy who hangs out with the Buttery Bros, I think his name is Julian.
I think it's preference. I met a person the other day who spells her name Andrea. How would you pronounce that name?
Spell it again for me. Andrea. Andrea.
Not Andrea?
If she wanted me to.
Yeah, it just, it's like I asked Peter the other day, how do you say the word Celtic?
Celtic.
Well, what is the NBA team that plays in Boston called?
Celtic.
So let us know, Julian.
I bought a sweater and the shirt from Be Friendly. Sweater. He doesn't sell a sweater. What are you fucking? What are you? 80?
It might be. It's a crew neck sweater, I think is what it's actually called on there.
Let me see that sweater. He doesn't sell sweaters. Be Friendly.
No, the store is closed, I think.
Really?
I don't know. I just clicked on it and it says it's closed.
Be Friendly Fitness store. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Is it closed?
Yeah, I got closed too.
Huh? Missed the pre-sale.
The store is currently closed.
Limited stuff.
That's bullshit. Sweater. You can get a sweater. You got a sweatshirt. Sweater. You got a shawl there too.
Yeah.
Read and red. Red and read. How do you say this word right here, Brian?
Both. I think in different contexts, it's like the Caribbean.
I only know one way. What are the
pecan
two?
Or pecan? Pecan pie. I've heard people say that.
Oh, pecan.
Yeah, I'll have some pecans.
Yeah, pecan pie. Pecan. Wow.
I feel like literally in those two instances, I would say them differently. Pecan pie. I'll have a handful of pecans, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the Caribbean. I'm gonna watch the Pirates of the Caribbean.
I love the word exercises.
Not the word exercises, the word exercises.
Oh, right. I might as well finish this stuff up, this piece up on Tia Toomey when she was on the interviewed by Sean and Lauren. She only planned on winning one CrossFit Games and then going back to work. She never planned on winning another one. She also said she didn't make any money until she went to the move. She said she didn't make any money until she moved to the USA, and by then she had already won the games twice. And so I didn't understand what that meant, because she probably won $300,000 each time. But what she meant was I guess she didn't have a steady stream of revenue. She didn't have like programming or what. I don't know. Does she sell anything? What does Tia sell? Does she sell anything? Books?
I think that for the athletes, a steady stream of revenue at the top end comes through their sponsors. Basically, is that they have annual contract with whomever is supporting them, and there's obviously some kind of agreement there. But this is a real thing that I know that I've heard athletes and coaches talk about around the world, is that it's really difficult for the international athletes to get the same opportunities in that regard, and therefore to create those sustainable financial streams of income internationally as it is in North America.
Well, now she's doing it.
Yeah. And so it's like, if she's saying that didn't happen despite winning the games twice when she was living internationally,
yeah,
then it's, it affirms those conversations that I've heard over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Probably to even an extreme level.
Oh, this dude, Julian. Wow, listen to this. You pronounce it like the dude off the Buttery Bros, Julian. Now I'm really confused, because now I'm thinking that this is a guy, because it says you pronounce it like the dude, because girls wouldn't say the dude, right? So that means this person,
met a girl with that name spelling.
That means that this person, and a dude doesn't buy a sweater either. Only girls buy sweaters.
I think it's a crew neck sweater.
It is a guy. Bailey says it is a guy. You're a guy, you bought a sweater?
That's a beautiful picture, Bailey.
King Julian from Madagascar. Or Julian. There are no girls named Julian. I
think they'd be like Juliana.
Or Juliana. I'm so confused. Oh my goodness. Of
course that person loves sweaters.
My cunt is itchy. I love sweaters.
Loves itchy clothing.
I have to go. Julian. Yeah, that's how it should be spelled, like Julian. Yeah, that's half Jewish, half Armenian. Julian. All right. Fikowski.
I had such a good time this morning. Thank you.
Oh, good. That was easy. All right, I have to go. Training begins. Dude, my whole identity changed in this show.
It did?
Yeah, I'm a fucking world-class coach, manager, everything. I didn't realize any of those things about me.
Make a post about that later on. I didn't know until one day or two ago that you were black.
Thank you. Everyone knows that, though. You're just slow to the game. You just use your eyes. That's why you're shallow. You only use your eyes. Listen, you think I should make a post where I talk to the camera and be like, "Hey, I'm the world's greatest manager"?
Yeah, one of those where you're just like coach. Walking around. You have the phone there. You just do your authentic thing. It's gonna pop into your head at some point today. Just pull out the phone and do it. People will love it. I'll love it. I'll even give you a like.
Thank you. Sevan is classifying all humans as awesome. Sevan is God. 7 is God. I think 5 is man, 6 is Satan, and 7 is God.
It's an interesting profile picture selection.
Very interesting. Very interesting. This person emails me too, and I can't quite figure out. I thought I knew who it was, but I don't.
It's like in Dave's weekend review last week, he said, "Hey, I can't remember who it was, but can you like reach out to me? I want to put a face with a name here."
Yeah. That person who writes to Dave trolls all the accounts. I think we blocked him from this show.
Oh.
He said some crazy shit one time. He's got a crazy handle. It's like shoot up the club or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite that crazy, but it did stand up.
It's crazy. Okay. All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'll see you later.
Okay.
You were savior today. If anyone says anything different about you, let me know.
I won't let you know, but all right, thanks.
All right. Brian Friend comes on, saves the show. Chase Ingram, caught off guard. Didn't mean to save the show. Helped save the show. Oh yeah, it is shoot the club up. I didn't block him. I assume he was blocked. He used to be in here being a douchebag all the time. Bye-bye, Vatos. carnal. Adios, ese.